Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to make an easy apple crisp in a cast iron skillet. You will love how tender and syrupy these apples are with just the right amount of spice, and that crisp topping cannot be beat. This would be a great recipe for Thanksgiving if you don't want to fuss with an apple pie, because I think this is way easier. It also transports really well, making it perfect for a potluck. And if you're not already a subscriber, be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and that way you won't miss any of my holiday recipes. Okay, let me show you how to make a fantastic apple crisp. Now for this recipe, I'm using Gala apples. I find that they're just a little bit sweeter and more tender than the Granny Smith. I think the Granny Smiths are great for an apple pie, but if you're making an apple crisp, I say go for something sweeter and lighter like a Gala. So we're just going to peel these apples and core them and cut them into nice wedges. And then we're going to add those to a large bowl. And to that we're going to add 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice, 1/3 cup of white sugar, and 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. Now you could just use cinnamon, but because I'm American, I love my pumpkin pie spice. So I'm going to add that in. I just like it because I think it gives a lot more flavor to it. And in fact, if you want to learn how to make pumpkin pie spice at home, I have a recipe for that, and I'll leave you a link in the description. Then you can toss this mixture up, making sure that all of the apples are covered and that the mixture is combined, and then you can set that aside. Then in a large 10-inch cast iron skillet, you're going to add 3 tablespoons of butter. And once that starts to melt down, you can then add 1/3 cup of brown sugar. And then you want to whisk together the brown sugar and the butter so it creates kind of like a nice paste. And then you're going to place the apples in the skillet and let them simmer. I love to make apple crisp this way in a skillet because it really allows you to give the apples a head start. Once they start to simmer and break down, all of their juices start to release, and they'll combine with that brown sugar and the butter to give you a head start on your syrupy sauce. And I find that's the hallmark of a great apple crisp. You need the syrupy sauce. You don't want a dry apple crisp. So while that's simmering, you can get on with making the crisp topping. So in a medium-sized bowl, you're going to add 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of white sugar, 3/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/8 teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. And you can whisk that all up until it's combined. And then to that, we're going to add 8 tablespoons of melted butter. And once you whisk that up, you'll start to get kind of like a paste on your hands. And then at this stage, you can add 3/4 cup of old-fashioned oats. So you want to make sure that they're the old-fashioned oats. You don't want to use the quick cooking oats. They won't work as well. Then we're going to add 1/2 cup of chopped pecans. You could also use walnuts if you prefer. And then here's the secret ingredient, 1/2 cup of toffee bits. The toffee bits really make this crisp so delicious because once they start to bake in the oven, they start to melt down and they give your crisp a really nice, almost like caramel chew once it's all said and done. So they are worth seeking out. I usually find them in the baking aisle next to the chocolate chips. They'll just be called Heath toffee bits. And at this stage, I like to add 1/4 cup of water, which will help create more of a sauce for the apples. It's important that they have enough liquid to cook in so that you get that syrupy texture when it's all done. Then you can take your crisp topping and just sprinkle it all over the top. Then you're going to place this in a 375-degree oven for anywhere from 30 to 35 minutes. You'll know when it's done because the crisp topping will start to turn golden brown and you'll start to see all those beautiful syrupy juices bubbling underneath. Now you could serve this right away, or if you were making this for Thanksgiving, I think the easier thing to do is to bake it the day before, let it cool completely, cover it with foil and pop it in your fridge. Then 30 minutes before you plan to serve it, I would remove the foil, add 2 to 3 tablespoons of water just all over the top of the crisp. Because what ends up happening is the sauce congeals thanks to the cornstarch, and you're not going to get that syrupy center again unless you kind of reactivate it with some water. You want to thin it out a bit. And then you can place the foil on top, place it in a 375-degree oven for about 15 minutes, and then remove the foil and let it go for another 10 to 15 minutes just until that crisp topping is nice and crunchy and you start to see those juices bubbling. I like to serve it in small bowls with some vanilla ice cream. And as always, you can find the printable version of this recipe at entertainingwithbeth.com. And if you are up for making an apple pie this year, then you must watch my foolproof tips in this video. You can click that annotation and I'll see you over there and show you how to make a fantastic apple pie. All right, you guys, I'll see you back here next time. Until then, bye.